The overall function of the endocrine system is to produce hormones that regulate the metabolism, tissue functions, growth and development, sexual functions, reproduction, sleep, mood, among others. By regulating these body functions, the endocrine system helps maintain the body's homeostasis. The hypothalamus connects the endocrine system with the nervous system through the pituitary gland. It is located superior and anterior of the brainstem and inferior of the thalamus. It produces TRH, which stimulates anterior pituitary gland to release thyroid-stimulating hormone, GnRH, which stimulates the release of follicle-stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone, GHRH and GHIH work together to release and inhibit growth hormone, TRH, which stimulates the release of adrenocorticotropic hormone, ADH and oxytocin hormones are sent to the posterior pituitary to be stored and released when needed. All these functions happen in the hypothalamus. The hypothalamus also receives impulses from the body to regulate body systems. The pituitary gland is located inferior of the hypothalamus. It is divided into two, anterior and posterior pituitary. The posterior pituitary releases the oxytocin, which makes uterine contractions during childbirth and releases milk during breastfeeding, and ADH, which prevents water loss in the body by increasing the water in the kidneys and reducing the blood flow to sweat glands. These two hormones are produced by the hypothalamus and are released by the posterior pituitary. The anterior pituitary produces TSH, which stimulates the thyroid gland. It also produces ACTH, which stimulates the adrenal cortex and part of the adrenal gland. Also FSH, which stimulates the follicle cells of the gonads to produce gametes. Also LH, which stimulates gonads to produce sex hormones. HGH, which stimulates growth, repair, and reproduction. And PRL, which stimulates mammary glands to produce breast milk. The pineal gland is located posterior of the thalamus. It produces melatonin hormone, which regulates the circadian rhythm. The pineal gland is influenced by the photoreceptors of the retina. Melatonin is only produced in low light or darkness.
The thyroid gland is a butterfly-shaped gland located around the trachea. It produces three major hormones: calcitonin, tridothyronine, T3 abbreviated, and thyroxine, T4. Calcitonin functions to reduce the concentration of calcium ions in the blood. The hormones T3 and T4 work together to regulate the body's metabolic rate. The parathyroid glands are four small masses of glandular tissue found on the posterior side of the thyroid gland. They produce the hormone parathyroid hormone, PTH, which is involved in calcium-ion homeostasis. PTH stimulates the osteoclast to break down the calcium-containing bone matrix to release free calcium ions into the bloodstream. PTH also triggers the kidneys to return calcium ions filtered out of the blood back to the bloodstream so that it is conserved. The adrenal glands are found immediately superior to the kidneys. They are made each of two distinct layers, each with their own unique functions: the outer adrenal cortex and inner adrenal medulla. The adrenal cortex produces many cortical hormones in three classes: glucocorticoids, mineralocorticoids, and androgens. Glucocorticoids break down proteins and lipids to produce glucose. Mineralocorticoids help to regulate the concentration of mineral ions in the body. Androgens regulate the growth and activity of cells that are receptive to male hormones. And the adrenal medulla produces the hormones epinephrine and norepinephrine. Both of these hormones help to increase the flow of blood to the brain and muscles to improve the fight or flight response to stress.
The pancreas is located in the abdomen. It has a role in converting the food we eat into fuel for the body cells. The pancreas has two main functions, an exocrine function that helps in digestion and an endocrine function that helps to regulate blood sugar. It produces alpha and beta cells. The alpha cells produce the hormone glucagon, which is responsible for raising blood glucose levels. Glucagon triggers muscles and liver cells to break down the polysaccharide hormone insulin, which is responsible for lowering blood glucose levels after a meal. The thymus is a soft triangular-shaped organ found in the chest, posterior to the sternum. The thymus produces hormones called thymosis that is helped to train and develop T lymphocytes during fetal development and childhood. The T lymphocytes produced in the thymus go on to protect the body from pathogens throughout the person's entire life. The thymus becomes inactive during puberty and is slowly replaced by adipose tissues throughout a person's life. Gonads are the organs responsible for producing sex hormones. In males, the tests are produced. The tests are a pair of adipose organs found in the scrotum of males that produce an androgen testosterone in males after the start of puberty. In females, the ovaries are produced. The ovaries are a pair of almond-shaped glands located in the pelvic body cavity, lateral and superior to the uterus.
The organs that make up the endocrine system are the hypothalamus, the pituitary gland, pineal gland, thyroid gland, parathyroid glands, adrenal glands, pancreas, gonads, that are the ovaries in females and testes in males, and thymus. Several endocrine abnormalities are reported in obesity. In obesity, T3 is elevated, a hyperresponsiveness of the HPA x-axis with increased cortisol and ACTH response to stimulatory tests. It observed in centrally obese individuals. Total testosterone levels are low. Parathyroid hormone levels are elevated with normal serum calcium levels and are increased. Monogenic mutations that result in severe obesity have been described in several individuals. Also, several endocrine diseases have obesity as one of their clinical manifestations. Hypothyroidism, Cushing syndrome, GH, and testosterone deficiency, polycystic ovarian syndrome, insulinoma, hypothalamic lesions, and genetic syndromes often present with obesity. Obesity also affects the pancreas by modifying the amount of insulin produced and quantities of sugar that the body accepts.